So whether you love him or you hate him, there is no denying that John Cena has been essential to WWE's success during the past 2 decades. But with him sitting on a record-tying 16 world title reigns and having main evented 5 WrestleManias, the 47-year-old Hollywood star surprisingly announced at Money in the Bank recently that he will soon embark on a year-long retirement tour in 2025, with 30 to 40 plus appearances planned for said tour. That right there is a lot of time, and a lot of time brings with it a lot of opportunities. And that brings us nicely to this video, where we're going to look at the things that we feel we need to see and things we definitely do not from the face that once ran the place's 2025 farewell. I'm Gareth, this is What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 things that must happen during John Cena's WWE retirement tour. Number 10, avoid Super Cena. Right, so right out of the gate, the most important thing that needs to happen during John Cena's retirement tour is actually what needs to be avoided at all costs. That being the appearance of Super Cena. So long-time WWE fans probably know this term all too well, of course, and it likely sends shivers right up about everybody's spines. Yep, there's mine. For years, Cena would overcome every form of adversity put in front of him, and he'd rarely end up on the losing end of any of his feuds. And if he did get beaten down or even lost, he'd soon find a way to shrug it off and find a new opportunity at a world title in like a matter of weeks. Which persisted even as fans turned on the supposed babyface. It all gave birth to the infamous phrase known as Cena wins, lol. So now, under no circumstances can that version of Cena ever return to WWE, like ever. He's currently almost universally beloved by fans, which really does show that time truly heals all wounds, doesn't it? But if you were to run out and AA the entire Judgment Day and Bloodline in rapid succession, then fans would surely turn on him in record time again. You just can't be doing that to the relatively new kids on the block, John. Now, to be fair, the odds that this will happen are definitely somewhat slim. I mean, Cena hasn't won a televised singles match in 6 years, and he's mostly just wrestled in tag matches since then. It'd be quite the change for him to just suddenly start dominating like he did 10 to 15 years ago, wouldn't it? So don't even think about it. Just take the idea, throw it away, forget I even said it. Number 9, compete in King of the Ring. When discussing things that John Cena has not accomplished in WWE, and that is admittedly a very short list, one of the oddest misses has to be that he has never actually wrestled in the King of the Ring tournament, ever. I know, it's pretty crazy. And now, while yes, that might seem impossible at first, there are actually some circumstances that prevented him from entering the seminal WWE tourney. So the 2002 King of the Ring tournament wrapped up just 4 days before Cena even debuted on SmackDown, you know, the whole ruthless aggression thing. Then there wouldn't be a King of the Ring held again until 2006, which was a SmackDown branded tournament, and Cena was over on Raw, so he couldn't just jump over to SmackDown, beat everyone up, take the crown, and be like, you can't see me, I'm a king, bye. By the time the next tournament rolled around in spring 2008, Cena had already main evented 2 WrestleManias and was a 3-time world champion. That's hardly the resume for a King of the Ring, which long has been seen as a tournament for rising stars rather than wrestlers already at the apex of their careers. However, given Cena's struggles in singles matches in recent years, entering King of the Ring in 2025 could make for a fun, compelling story as he tries to compete with the younger stars of today to get back into that world title scene. He'd also check an item off his WWE bucket list as well, and that's always a good thing, so for me, this looks like a good idea all around. Number 8, dream matches. Having the man himself, John Cena, back for the better part of a year means that fans can actually anticipate and even fantasy book several dream matches that they never probably thought they'd ever see. But rather than just booking a bunch of Cena versus young wrestler matches boring, I mean, it wouldn't be boring, but you'll see where I'm going. Perhaps a better avenue would be locking down those more marquee matches that either occurred at some point in the past or just missed out on happening altogether. Like you had The Rock and Cena coming face to face at WrestleMania 40, with the Great One obviously getting one up on Big Match John there, remember? And that could have been a way of secretly setting up one final showdown between those icons. Because who doesn't want to see that once-in-a-lifetime battle for a 3rd time? But perhaps the biggest what-if match that is currently out there right now is Cena, that man John Cena, versus a guy you might know very well called Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was a wild idea that seemed far-fetched and pretty much impossible a few years ago, but now it actually could sort of happen if the stars align, couldn't it? Even a contest between Cena and longtime rival Randy Orton could be somewhat entertaining in its own way. Especially given the resurgence that Orton's experienced in the past couple of years. Like, he's one of the hottest people in the entire company right now. Putting those two together again, I feel like magic will be made. Those two have not faced each other in a televised bout in more than 7 years at this point, so come on, that's 7 years too long. And speaking of too long, it's been also way too long since I've seen CM Punk and John Cena in a ring together, so get that happening too. And while we're talking about all of John Cena's many rivals over the years, I want to know what's your favourite John Cena rivalry of all time. Is it the CM Punk one, Edge, Triple H, Shawn Michaels? I'm running out of fingers, but there's a lot of them, so you let me know what yours is in the comment section right down there. Number 7, resist the urge to turn heel. For the longest time, critics and observers suggested that John Cena should turn heel given the nuclear heat he was drawing when he was supposedly the company's top babyface. Ah, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Those were the days. Rather than lean into the very real heel heat though, Cena and WWE just doubled, then tripled, then quadrupled down over the years, insisting that he remain the virtuous hero. At times, he even joked about a heel turn in his promos, but he never ever truly embraced the hate. During the post-Money in the Bank press conference thing that just happened very recently, someone actually asked Cena if he would consider turning heel during this final run. And it was a notion he bluntly rebuffed, noting that he would remain true to himself during this upcoming year, which didn't really lend itself to a villainous turn. And honestly, WWE would actually be foolish to have him play heel at this point. Ah yes, some people, including the person who did actually ask this question, pointed to The Rock's celebrated arc as the final boss heading into WrestleMania this year, as proof that a heel turn could actually revitalise a career and avoid it feeling like a greatest hits tour, if you will. But it's important to remember that The Rock was a fantastic heel at various points in his career, while Cena has been almost exclusively a babyface since 2003? Maybe WWE has got some pixie dust that they can sprinkle on Cena to suddenly make him a compelling villain. But odds are they would be wise just to do a good job accentuating what's worked for the vast majority of his career, and that is being a hero, so just keep him that way and move on. Number 6, take on a young lion. So if WWE's looking to do something meaningful with John Cena's year-long farewell, then what could be better than having him play the role of a mentor to a young wrestler, or maybe even a couple? Just imagine Cena serving as a guru-type figure for someone like a main roster debuting Trick Williams. Or even teaming with an underutilized young talent like Odyssey Jones or Ashanti Theodonis. I mean, I would like to see that. Hell, if done right and WWE avoids their worst proclivities, then Cena could fall into the mold of a Sting in AEW with Darby Allin, elevating a young wrestler by being their partner/mentor and sharing a bit of the spotlight. And this kind of angle wouldn't need to stretch the entire year run either. But even if it did, it wouldn't prevent Cena from wrestling a few singles matches along the way. It could honestly be a really fun story, and one that WWE doesn't really tell all that often when you look back. And also it could, and probably should, elevate a newer wrestler into the upper echelon of the card, and who doesn't want that? Now I hope you're enjoying seeing this video today right now, and if you are, then hit that subscribe button down below for more of this What Culture Wrestling stuff on your feed, timeline, screen, face, just hitting you in the face, yeah. Number 5, join a stable. Now alternatively, John Cena could do something that he almost never did during his main run with the company. At least not willingly. Nexus. He could actually join a stable that he wants to be a part of. As you likely already know at this point, under Triple H, WWE has really embraced the concept of creating wrestling stables, bringing anywhere from 3 to even 5 wrestlers together under one banner. Like right now, the main roster is packed with stables. You've got your Judgment Day, the Bloodline, the Final Testament, the Pride, LWO, Legado del Fantasma, Damage Control, the Wyatt Six, and possibly still at time of recording, the Alpha Academy. That is a lot of stables. Now this isn't a suggestion for Cena to join one of those existing stables. I mean, odds are that nearly half of them are going to implode by year's end anyway. But having him join a new one as the veteran presence could be an interesting way to weave him into a few storylines. I'm thinking like Ric Flair in Evolution, that kind of vibe. It also would allow him to play that mentor role as mentioned earlier, while still competing in singles matches along the way. I mean, if it isn't clear, I just really want a lot of cool single matches from John Cena in this thing. I just want loads of big match John. Give me loads of big match John in this run. And a stable would also give him a bit of purpose really, rather than just floating around aimlessly on his own. Like the idea of Johnny No Mates it's a bit sad really, so give him a crew and let him have some fun. Number 4, keep the world title reign on the table. Now look, it would be easy to just dismiss any talk of John Cena winning the record 17th World Championship right now. Like, you can point to his lack of success in singles matches and the fact that he's only going to be around for a finite amount of time. Right now though, with his 16 world title wins, Cena is tied with Ric Flair for the most major world title runs. That's in WWE lore anyway. And you've just got to admit that chasing number 17 would definitely make for gripping television, because there clearly would be plenty of fans that'd be rooting for Cena to finally lift the big 1-7. But then on the other side of the coin, there'd also be a lot of people who definitely wouldn't want to see another John Cena world title reign, even if it was just for one pay-per-view cycle. In other words, you'd just have all the drama and it'd just make for some great telly. So regardless of whether he were to actually win a world title in 2025, the mere concept of Cena chasing a championship as he prepares to hang up his boots would definitely still draw eyeballs. WWE should at least keep it open as an option in my opinion. Number 3, compete in NXT. Continuing that discussion about things that John Cena's actually not done in WWE, again a very, very short list. You can safely add wrestle in NXT to that list. Unfortunately, that would be an easy thing to change too. Cena has already visited the PC for a TV taping recently, so making his way back to Florida to step into the ring wouldn't be too far of a stretch. And it would also go toward the whole mentorship idea thing if he were to team with a younger superstar while he was down there. Like he could team with Brooks Jensen and joke about how he promised Brooks' dad that he'd look after his kid. You can go and Google that one if you don't get that reference. Also, could you imagine Cena participating in one of NXT's truly great concepts, that being the Iron Survivor Challenge? Big Match John hustling to try and get an extra pin just before time runs out. Or even an NXT superstar picking up the decisive fall on Cena as the clock just runs down, the seconds bleed away. Through the years, surely Cena has amassed a favour that he owes Shawn Michaels at some point. So HBK cashing in to ask Cena to wrestle on a Tuesday night seems like a distinct possibility really. So just make it happen HBK, we want to see it. Number 2, put over select wrestlers. Now an argument can be made that John Cena has already transitioned to the putting over younger talent phase of his career. Since defeating Triple H at the Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018, Cena has lost 4 televised singles matches in a row, those being against The Fiend, Roman Reigns, Austin Theory and Solo Sikoa. Unfortunately though, none of these wrestlers could really say they got all that much out of those wins. Theory in particular really kinda squandered his big WrestleMania victory, and Solo didn't exactly immediately become the killer that he should have in the wake of vanquishing Cena. That still doesn't mean that Cena shouldn't strive to put over some younger superstars during this final run though. Building a proper feud or two where a wrestler actually earns a meaningful victory over the legend, and then uses it to catapult himself to the next level should be a top goal of WWE during the upcoming year. It's not enough to just give Cena a really good send-off run here. If he can really elevate 1 or even 2 wrestlers before he leaves, then he will have accomplished more than the likes of tons of legends before him. And you can bet that a guy like Cena will be looking to do exactly that during this final run. Number 1, win the Intercontinental Championship. If there's one thing that WWE absolutely should do from this list with John Cena during his farewell tour, it is give him a championship. But not just any championship, folks. Cena should win the one title that he has never actually captured during his entire career. That is the Intercontinental Championship. It's honestly wild to realise it, but Cena has never ever held WWE's legendary secondary title. In fact, he's never even competed for it in a televised bout, and that is madness. Cena obviously rose to prominence on SmackDown and he won the other secondary title, that being the United States Championship, before then ascending to the world title scene. Then, when he did eventually step down to hold the secondary title toward the end of his full-time run, it was once again the US title. Winning the Intercontinental Championship would actually complete Cena's career in a few different ways. For starters, it would finally allow him to be listed as both a Triple Crown and Grand Slam champion in WWE. Again, at this point, he's still not done that, and that is insane. Given the resurgence in prestige the IC title has experienced due to Gunther's record-setting reign, it is a prize that would also mean a great deal to Cena rather than just being seen as a bit of a step down. And the fact WWE's most celebrated and decorated superstar has surprisingly never even held one of its most prominent titles is near criminal, really. So the ball's in your court, WWE. You've got the chance to do something really quite memorable in 2025, so do not mess it up. Please. Have you enjoyed this Things That Must Happen in John Cena's Retirement Tour video thing? Well, if you have, then go and check out this 10 hilarious backstage wrestling stories you probably didn't know one too. Honestly, you're gonna have so much fun, I'm so jealous, it's breaking my heart, so just go do that and I will see you later. Bye bye.